comment below as well, and we'll get you started with that. So today's show is about toxic, abusive mothers. See, we often talk about not having a good father and how that can affect a child. But what about when that child is left with a scorn, hurt, mad, abusive, compulsive mother? The results of that can leave one with mental trauma or illness in adulthood, like PTSD, anxiety, and so many other disorders. I believe we tend to overlook these things in our mothers, especially as girls, because we feel some type of obligation to be loyal to them, regardless of what they do. And I think that loyalty comes from, we know the sacrifice of birthing and carrying us. So as a woman, we feel that we have to be, again, loyal to them regardless of what they do. But should we feel like this? As we do not ask to be born or choose to be born, should we say, in another dimension, some believe we do choose our parents, but I don't know how to feel about that. Because if that's the case, I wouldn't have picked my parents, especially not my mom. But as we talk to some people, they believe that that is true. And they have observed me and they feel I've been put in my family life because I'm very empathetic and strong and am able to verbalize my points with assertiveness and exchange energy that you can feel that means business and requires respect more than attention. So maybe I was brought to my family to heal a bunch of, excuse my language, fucked up people. But that's all I can see, you know what I mean? Because I don't get anything from them. But as far back as I can remember, my mom was never happy. She was never giddy. I have no memories of her like saying, "You look so pretty today," or hugging me after dressing me, or validating me for getting good grades. It was just, I can't even remember the amount of time she said, "I love you." As I got older, her telling me she loved me, it felt awkward because I was not even used to hearing it. You know what I mean? So as today, I feel awkward still sometimes hearing it from new people. It feels awkward. I can remember the amount of hugs, as there was not many. And they felt awkward as I rolled into my teenage years because they were also rare, and something hurt my mom, I believe, really bad when she was maybe a child or even in her adulthood. And she took all her emotions out on me. So I never felt wanted. I always felt unwanted, ugly, or abused and hated, like, the child that she didn't want, because I have 3 siblings. So as I look back as a little girl, I was so innocent. I remember changing, becoming hard, like tomboyish, saying I think that was like a coping mechanism, and I used it in the wrong areas of life sometimes. So now, like, I constantly, I would guess what they would say, astral project, but I don't know what that is, like how to do that. But I constantly heal the little girl that I know, talk to the little me, like what would I have, and console so I can thrive today. You know what I mean? So it gets deep, you know what I mean? It gets deep. And, I have some stuff that I went through in my childhood with her that made me just not like her. And we'll go over that stuff. And you probably will ask me those questions as I ask you those questions. So I brought a guest with us today, you guys, to also, I wanted to hear someone else's perspective, about this. And so we're going to ask her some questions. Let's start with, what's your name and where you're from?
Hi, my name is Zawana, and I'm from Norristown, Pennsylvania.
Okay. And you don't have to tell us like your exact age, but like, what era was you born in, the 80s, 90s?
80s baby.
Okay, me too. Just had my birthday the other day. I'm getting old. We getting old, girl. No. But we still looking young, okay? No. So how would you describe your mother and like your relationship with her?
Ooh, to be honest, I'll say like cats and dogs. I never understood that until I got older. Um, you know, Growing up in the household that I grew up in, you would think a lot of the things that went on was normalcy. She was a single mother. My father wasn't consistent. And when he did come in, to the household, he just brought a whole bunch of physical abuse, trauma. And I used to think, the older I got, that maybe, that's why she started acting the way she acted towards me. And I just couldn't piece it. I just didn't, it was just a lot of things. When you're younger, you're thinking that that's normal. It's not normal until you get older and you see other families. And you're like, oh, wow, it is some normalcy in this world.
Yes.
Cats and dogs, very dysfunctional. And like you had mentioned, you didn't remember, you probably really couldn't count how many times she had said she loved you. Hugs. you know, it was like a lack of emotional connections. You know, it was like a lack of that. No, a lot of criticizing. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it just wasn't fun. And it's
Yeah.
still, you know, today we have no relationship. But growing up, like I said, it was a disconnect, no connection.
Same with my mom. I stopped talking to her. Maybe my daughter's about to be 10. So the last time I seen her, my daughter was like about 6 months.
Okay.
And it's just like, it was enough then. It was just like, why am I still doing this? You know what I mean? Like, it does not feel right. It feels wrong now. You know what I mean? Like you said, being around other people's and then having friends, girlfriends, and their mothers accept me and love me. And it's like, what's wrong with this lady? And she's just so awkward. You know what I mean? And it's so you can start comparing it, and it begins to hurt even more as an adult because you're like, she's not gonna change.
Right.
It's just getting worse. You know, you can't ignore it as an adult. As a child, you kind of cope with it because you
think
have
it's
no
normal.
Yeah.
You think it's normal as a child.
Yeah. And then you have to deal with it because you have nowhere to go. So you're like, you know, I'm just going to try to ignore it as much as I can or, you know, but until you can't no more, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And, you know, it was worse for me like growing up because, you know, a lot of things that I can express now as an adult, I wasn't able to express as 11-year-old girl, you know, trying to use my voice because in the Black household, that's considered talking back.
Exactly.
So expressing my hurt, you know, my fears. You know, I feel like I'm being mistreated, you know, just trying to express my feelings overall as 11, 12-year-old little girl. That's talking back. Oh, you're lying. You're just crazy. You're just jealous. You're just miserable. You know what I mean? Oh, don't say that. You're talking back now. I couldn't use my voice.
Yeah.
At all.
We couldn't even say the word lying in my house. It was considered a bad word. It was like, okay, how do you say that? They're not telling the truth then. Like, you know, and so, you know, the first time I had like emotions that I was like 4 years old. And it was the first time I experienced like knowing like my mom is something wrong with her. Like it was just very awkward. So my sister's 7 years older than me. Okay. And her best friend at the time, her mother and father were preachers. So the father was a preacher and the mother was a preacher's wife. So we went to spend night over their house. And back in the day it was like your sister go, you go. You know what I'm saying? So I had to go with her. And she had a sister about my age too. So we spent the night over there. That morning, she got me dressed for church. You know what I'm saying? And she buttoned me up and stuff. And she was like, you look so pretty. And that was like the first time at 4, that was the first time I've ever experienced that. And I broke down crying like I had failed or something. Like, you know how like you cry as a kid, not like silent tears. I was crying like, and she's like, what did I do? You know, and at 4, I could not explain to her what I was feeling. You know what I mean? But it was like, I know now that I've been treated wrong through that emotion you just gave me because I've never heard that before. And it hurts at the same time, but it feels so good. It was a mixed emotion, you know, like finally, but why has nobody ever done this? You know what I'm saying? So I broke down. I never stopped crying. I cried for like 30 minutes. And it was like, she was like, we got to go to church. So she took me back to my mom. And, you know, my mom's like, oh, I'm sorry for that. Playing the, you know, the role like she cares and shit. So now it's just at home by herself.
Putting on the whole facade.
Yeah. You know, and we're home by herself now. And I already know what's about to happen. She beat me for like an hour. You know, it felt like an hour because she stopped and then started again. You know what I mean? And it was just like, this is exactly why I hate you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Wow. And I can honestly say I never really loved her either. Like as an adult, people be like, how can you say that? And I'm like, because I know what that emotion is now. Yeah. You know, and it's like she never gave me the opportunity to love her. You know, so
and she never taught you love.
Exactly.
So how would you know how to love someone if she didn't, you know, if you weren't brought up on it from her?
The woman who brought the only child.
Right.
Do you have sisters and brothers?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I have 3. I have one sister and 2 brothers.
Okay.
Believe it or not, they're actually close with her. But you know, it's like I really consider it like some type of trauma bond, right? And they don't
really
know how to
believe
hold her
it.
accountable. They don't know how to hold her accountable. They're scared to hold her accountable. So it's like this little trauma bond. And, she's been a single mother. She's been the glue. And they just don't know how to detach from that. I'm not just saying detach, like, distance yourself and completely just don't talk to her. You can still have a relationship, with her, but set boundaries. And that's just what I did. But as of right now, it's no relationship.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes you give chance after chance after chance and you drain yourself out. I've been like overwhelmed. I am big on forgiveness and all that, forgive, forget. But I give chances, but I feel like if it's really damaging me, I let go. Exactly. And that's what it was, damaging me emotionally and mentally. And, growing up, it did psychological damage. Because now she's projecting all that stuff that she went through and all the hate that she had for herself, projecting that on me.
Exactly.
You're miserable. You're having mental health issues or, depression. I don't know exactly. I just knew, from what I knew growing up that, she suffered from depression. Any other diagnoses I'm not aware of, I don't know if she's, saw let me see, a specialist or anyone, from the time that when we went to therapy. Let me see, we were about teenagers. We were preteens, and she had went, I remember her going about twice. And after that, she was sending us. And we were like 12 years old, 11, and not knowing why we're getting sent to therapy, but we're just going. We just have to go. It's mandated. We have to go. She attended 2 sessions, and I don't remember her, attending them anymore. But like I said, I am aware of the depression, but any other diagnosis, if there were any, that was hidden. And I do believe that there were some more issues that she just was in denial about,
Yeah.
And
I believe my mom had a lot,
Yeah. It was tough. And I didn't understand. I said, growing up, I said, wow. And like you said, I would, I thought it was just me. I'm like, what's wrong with me? Like, her relationship with my siblings is like peaches and cream. What am I doing wrong? I always felt like I wasn't enough.
Yeah. It's crazy how they pick one kid not to like. I think that really makes it more traumatizing because it's like if you see her like that with all of them, and then you still have, and then you have somebody to cope with, you know what I'm saying? But it's like it's just me that you don't like. It makes it way worse, And I experienced that because my sister that's 7 years older, it was like a Cinderella situation almost, because we all have different dads, and my dad left at like 3, 4, and they're all 7. My brother's 13 years older than me, so I have a brother and a sister. And it was just like she always kissed my mom's ass. So it was like, if she was mean to me, my sister was mean to me. And it was like, what the fuck is this?
And that's exactly what I felt with my siblings. Whenever me and my mom would have disagreements, which was, was very often, always often. And it's just like, I just didn't understand because this, has been going on since I've been like, elementary school age, young, 5, 6, 7. There's always a disconnect, always some type of feuding between me and my mother, the woman who brought me into this world. And then when me and her could never have a disagreement without everyone else disagreeing with me. And guess what?
It's like, I don't know if you experienced that, but it's because she was making you out to feel like to look compulsive, and you were the compulsive kid, you were the bad kid, and and it was crazy, because they do that, and it's a form of narcissism. It's like you're dealing with so much. Like your mother is a narcissism, she's an abuser, and it's just like, how do you tell someone this as a kid? And then like you go outside and it looks so perfect to everybody. So it's like, what's the problem? You guys have food.
The whole facade. I'm telling
you. Yes. So it makes it so hard. And it still does probably look good to them.
Oh, yeah.
Like she probably got her stuff together. So it's like,
And then, I felt like she always played victim. Always. Like everything you just said. Compulsive. She was the, victim, and I was the bad person. I'm this. And I'm like, then I would feel like she was in competition. I'm like, what are we in competition for? I'm your daughter. Literally, right. I'm your daughter. Like, what do you see something in me that you wanted, that you didn't have growing up? What?
It's something,
I
and
don't
it's
know
like,
what it was. I even, took it upon myself to, write her, because it's like we can't talk face to face. It always explodes.
did she
Whether
write you back?
I'm the calm one, or she, you know what I mean? If I'm just calm, I've learned to manage my, feelings a little bit better. I hate being made out as a liar. That's a trigger for me. That's a trigger. And that's my mother. That's my mother. She'll point you out as the bad person, the liar, and just victim, and she's just,
I think with me, I take it even more personal. I'm like, oh, you trying to make me look crazy. You know what I mean? Because it's like they'll dismiss everything that you ever. It's like, so you're really telling me I'm making up this stuff, stuff that you just want to just hear. You're sorry, or I was going through something. I shouldn't have did that to you. And they're like, I just never did that. And you're just like.
And when she'd apologize, guess what? She never apologized publicly. She apologized behind closed doors. She wouldn't apologize. It'll be just between, a text message. You couldn't apologize in front of everyone else. You try to make me look bad, out in front of. You couldn't apologize in front of the crowd. You couldn't apologize in front of my siblings. Private message, like, no. Keep that same energy.
Yeah, exactly.
Same energy.
Exactly.
And then,
apologize where you cut up at, okay? You cut up outside, apologize outside. Okay. It's like, please do not,
And then, the rest of the family don't make it any better. Oh, well, that's still your mom. Okay, so because that's still my mom, I have to, stay mute, not use my voice, endure all the freaking, it's emotional abuse, mental abuse, psychological abuse, endure that because that's my mom. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's what they're saying.
My mom, what? What does that mean exactly? Oh, well, that's still your mom. What?
I hate that statement. It's like, that's really
common in the Black household.
It's hard to rebuttal that because it's like, that's not a mom. And so, it's almost knowing what it's like to be a foster kid as an adult. Because I'm like, this is what adult foster kids feel like, because I don't go around my whole family anymore. It's just like, I'm not, it's like, I'm the type of person, right is right and wrong is wrong. You know what I'm saying? Right. No one can ever say anything about any of this. I just can't deal with it. None of it. Like, and all they do is talk behind each other back, about what's wrong. But it's like, talk to the person. And then when I do it, I'm the compulsive crazy one, because I'm bringing up the issues, So I just was like,
very common in my household growing up.
Yeah, it's crazy. So I guess we're the ones, you know what I'm saying, the black sheeps, like, because
every family has them. Every family has them.
Thank God, because somebody has to be the one to stop the shit. It stops with us, like, because if we just be quiet, then our kids think it's okay. It just keeps rippling down, And yeah, someone has to be the one. It takes a bold motherfucker though, like, because you have to be, isolated and detached and all kind of stuff. That's
not normal. And people think it's normal. It's like the family's very like enmeshed. Like that stuff is just not normal. That stuff is just not normal. It's like, dang, no one wants to hold her accountable. So if y'all don't want to hold her accountable, then I'll distance myself from you guys too.
Exactly.
Exactly. You know what I mean? They want you to suffer and all that trauma and all that house, childhood trauma and everything. No, that's a choice. When you know better, you do better. Now, I love you. Just because you're blood, people think that means you're family.
Exactly.
There's some two different definitions. Blood, family is not like family anymore. Family is
and then when you get older and you experience having real relationships with your like your friends and their families and like real people, then that really makes you be able to differentiate, like, this is not okay. This is not what I want for myself. I don't have to fuck with y'all because there's a title that says you're my sister, you're my brother, you're my mother. And you don't act nothing like those titles though. So I just have to uphold you to that. But you're horrible. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't believe in that. There's a lot of people that just do that. They get together every Thanksgiving.
I cannot do it. I don't put on that facade. I don't do it. And I guess that's probably why I'm hated by them. Hated, but they're still keeping up. They're still trying to keep up. So I can't be that bad. You're trying to keep up with me still,
It's like my sister, she is I detach from her as well, because okay, so I went through some custody issues with my baby daddy because I have my older children, they have a different dad than my younger kids. So I went through some custody issues because he's still tripping over that, just the whole teenage love shit. Like it's really, and when I say tripping, ain't nobody trying to sound big on themselves or nothing, but the motherfucker's still rapping about me today. Like, boy, it's really I can't, and so when we went through our custody issues, he won because I was a dancer, and at the time, the judge was just like, I don't know if he's been through some shit with dancers. He got caught with one. I don't. Right. He was like, "Oh, there's no way you could be a good mom and all this shit." Right. So he won. Mind you, he owed me so much money in child support and was an absent father for 8 years, but won because he had just got a San Diego job with the city, so it looked better. Okay, whatever.
Wow.
And my family, my sister and my mother is still in communication with. So now he has custody of them. And my family and sister are talking to him. He's dropping them off at their house. But when I had my kids, they were like, "Oh, we're too busy. I can't babysit." But when he got custody, he's at their, I'm like, why are you even talking to this nigga? Knowing he just did this to me.
That sounds familiar.
You guys should not even be cool with him. It should be slamming doors like, nigga, no, I'll see them when my daughter has them. I'm sorry. That's what I would do if one of my daughters was going through that with her date. Like, what kind of weird shit am I? Is my expectations too high?
Right.
Or am I too sensitive?
Right.
So I stopped talking to them. That was like the cutoff. Like, because I think they were like waiting for something like that to happen to me. They were like, yes, we got somebody else to team up with against her. Like,
and that's supposed to be your blood.
Yes, it
blood.
felt weird.
Family don't do that.
Yeah, and when my brother tried to get involved and stick up for me, like, talk to him and be involved, like, no, we're taking the kids anyways, and he took them to his house, and she was like, you need to mind your business and get out of that. Like, telling my brother not to stick up for me. Yes, so that was just like,
yeah, it's personal. It's personal.
It is.
Yeah.
And it's weird because my dad is the only one that married her. I'm not a bastard, you know what I'm saying? And it's like my sister's dad allegedly was a crackhead with 20 kids, literally 20 kids. And my brother's father allegedly, she got pregnant at 17 at a house party. And he didn't even claim my brother for years because she had more than one guy that night. So I'm the only child that was under marriage in good conditions. And I'm like, so why are you treating me like the one that was made in the backseat? Like,
and how did she feel about your father? Because I used to think it was because she didn't like my, I thought that she maybe didn't like my father, but I don't think that could be the reason why she treats me like that. And I don't know.
I think she was hurt the most maybe over my dad. I don't know. It's like, I don't know, because it's like I try to put it together, and I think like maybe my dad hurt her the most. Maybe she was deeply in love with him the most, and like he's the one that never came back. Like after, so, my sister seen her dad sometimes, not often, like once or twice a year. My brother seen his dad every day because he literally kicked it next door and drunk beer with the neighbors every day. But he didn't do nothing for him, and neither did my sister's dad.
And I don't feel like that's a good enough excuse because my kid's father, I'm not best friends with my kids' fathers at all, and I couldn't see myself treating them like that at all. I'm close to my oldest one. We have some disagreements and everything, but for the most part, we've always been close. My other kids, we're close, very close, and like I said, I'm not best friends with their fathers at all. And I couldn't ever see myself treating them, a certain way because I dislike their fathers.
That's just weird.
So I just think that's a real petty excuse.
Yeah. I think that like if with me, like my kid, the kids that their dad wasn't involved, I treat them, I give them more because it's like they just have me.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why you should be even nicer to them. They're going through something just as well as you, motherfucker. And, it's not their fault. It's more your fault, if anything. Like, you chose him, whatever. I mean, it's not her fault either, but if we're gonna blame someone, we're gonna blame you first. You know what I'm saying?
That's
Not
true.
the child.
Not the child. So, I wouldn't even ever accept that excuse. Even if she ever decided to tell me that, well, I wouldn't accept that as an excuse. It's no excuse.
So you didn't like the way he treated you, so you treated me fucked up too? Like,
yeah. No. And he was very abusive. She wasn't physically abusive, but, I feel like that is just as equal as physical abuse, emotional, verbal, mental, psychological.
It's all the same.
Yeah, it's just as bad.
Because you keep hearing it over and over in your head.
Mm-hmm.
Like you probably can believe it in your head. You know,
and you start to believe it.
Yeah.
You start to believe it.
And did you know your grandma?
Yeah.
How were your relationship with her?
I was very young. Our relationship was good. Yeah.
See, now that I'm older,
11, I think, or
she died when you were 11. You said
my grandmother. I'm trying to think. I was like a preteen. I was very young, but it was a good relationship.
And were they close?
From what I could see, yeah.
So do you think that they had a bad relationship when they were younger?
When I had, talked with a therapist before, that's where she was getting at. She was thinking that, it was a strong possibility. I don't know, most people are real private about a lot of things. And I'm just trying to get to the root of the issue. I want to correct these issues. I'm trying to get to the root.
They are very private. Back then, they hid everything back then.
Yeah, right under the rug. So it's like, I'm not too sure. I call it the black lie. Everything's like a lie.
Now that's a good one.
The whole facade, everything's a lie.
That's a good one. No. It is. And it's like, I don't know if that's like from like slavery that we're doing this. Like,
I believe so.
It's just something embedded in us to just keep quiet, can't tell, it's crazy.
The whole mentality, yeah. And like you said, it starts with us. Like, we're breaking it. I'm not raising my kids in that type of dysfunction. They know it. They know mommy don't play.
Exactly.
And guess what? You're toxic and you're still showing dysfunctional ways. Come to us when you're healed. Because guess what? They're not going to be around it. Call me whatever. They're not going to be around it. They're not going to be around it. It ain't no spending a night here, going here, out of state there. No. You're not going to put the same thing into their, mindset. No.
Exactly. No. And then they will talk. I don't trust them. I don't even trust them. I'm like, I don't trust my mom.
Not anymore.
Bad about me. Like my oldest daughter, I got a 24-year-old.
And I remember you told me.
10 or so. Yeah, she was like 10 and she heard my mom talking bad about me and she had a cell phone. So she called me like, Mom, they're over there talking about you. And I pulled up like,
why is that so familiar? Believe it or not.
They probably would be best friends. They're probably two.
Girl.
But it's like now that you get older, you start to feel sorry for them, but it's not enough to deal with them though.
Yes. You are so right. It's so funny you just said that because that's the most recent for our disconnect was, them, being overheard talking about me. 2 years ago. 2 years ago. I said, nothing changed with them.
No,
You're keeping up with me. You're keeping up with me. So can't be that bad of a person,
And I'm horrible to them because, or they think I am because, like, my sister, she keeps trying to reach out. You know what I'm saying? And the last time she did it, she'll inbox me on Facebook because she don't have my number.
Right.
And the last time she did, I was just like, listen, just don't you see I don't respond? You know what I'm saying? Just leave it alone. I'm not gonna fuck back with y'all ever again. It's just. And I was like, it's good to know because she always inboxed me. We miss you. We love you. And I'm like, it's good to know that I gave you something to miss and to love.
That's true. And sometimes you just have to keep them where they are. And it's like, some people understand that. The ones who still, who aren't stuck in that mentality, that mindset. And then you have some that's still stuck in that slave mentality. Oh, that's still your mom. Da, 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 da. Well, you need to rekindle and do all this. And go back and, you're recycling that same toxic behavior and dysfunction. No, I'm breaking that.
Then you got to go through that again and you got to keep healing and then going through all the, like, I don't want to keep having to heal. Exactly. No. Now I got some new shit to heal from. No. You know, no, thank you. No, no, no. And see, like with my grandma and her, I know something. Like she was horrible, like to where I was way ahead of my age because
Okay.
of it. You
Mm-hmm.
know, and my grandma, she used to live with us when I was like 5 or 6.
Mm-hmm.
And she would sleep next to me on the floor. Like she would
Mm-hmm.
never lay down. She would never sleep in the bed with us or nothing. She would sleep in our room and she would sit up next to my bed and that's how she slept. And I'm just like, how could you let your mom, you know? So now that I'm older, like when I was a kid, I didn't care. I was glad because I was
Mm-hmm.
scared. Grandma sitting next to me every night. But now that
Mm-hmm.
I'm older, I'm like, wait a minute. The fuck? You know, you had your mom sitting on the floor every night, sitting up
Mm-hmm.
like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, my grandma would get in the bathroom. She would be in there like 3, 4, 5 minutes top. And my mom would be like, hurry the fuck up. You and yes,
Oh no. Mm-mm. So that
girl.
says a lot right there. That says a lot right there.
I got so
Wow.
many signs. And it was
Mm-hmm.
just like, she's not just like that with me. She's fucking
Mm-hmm.
crazy.
Yeah. And how she treat her friends. That's another thing. You
She
gotta
didn't have any.
look at that.
She couldn't
Okay.
keep one.
So
She
that's a
kept a lot of
common
men.
denominator. Common denominator. Her.
You know, she was beautiful, so the men kept
Mm-hmm.
coming. But the
Mm-hmm.
girls, I didn't see
Mm-hmm.
no, she never had no homegirls.
Mm-hmm.
No,
But
no,
why? You know?
that part.
You gotta look at it. You gotta not even just look at the relationship with you. You have to look at the relationship with her and other people too. And that's the things
Mm-hmm.
that I had to, dig deeper with, I had to look at it. I said, you know what, let me see how her relationships were with other people, with her siblings, with her mother, with men,
Couldn't
And
keep a
that
man.
lets you know a lot. That lets you know a lot. Like really.
Yeah.
So
Well, her siblings, they never. She didn't get along with none of her siblings.
mm,
They always was added
right.
about something, you know. And when I was about 10 years old, one day I got tired of her.
Mm-hmm.
I was just, because I was the last one in the house. It was like being the only child because my
Mm-hmm.
sister was 7 years older. She was off at college. My
Mm-hmm.
brother's 13 years older. He doing his thing,
Mm-hmm.
And one day I just asked her, like, what's wrong with you? Did something happen to you? Like, why are you like this? Because I just got tired of it. I
Right.
started talking back and shit,
Right.
And I have seen every type of demon that you could be. I'm not scared of you no more, So
Mm-hmm.
now I'm asking you, like, what's wrong now? Like, damn, And that day I asked her, like, what something happened to you when you was a kid? Why are you like this? Because I'm smart as fuck. So I'm starting.
Right.
She's making me smarter. You know
Right.
what I mean? With her shit,
Mm-hmm.
And
And you're
she was
paying
like,
attention.
yeah, And she was like, one of my brothers touched me when I was younger. She just came out and said that, and I was like, which one? And she would not tell me. Now she's one of 14.
Oh.
So
Wow.
I started thinking, like, which one does she get along with the
Mm-hmm.
work? You know what I mean?
Right.
And I'm like, did you tell your mom and she didn't do
Right.
nothing about it? And is that where why you treat her so bad now that you have the room to treat her bad? She
Mm-hmm.
lives with you and stuff, you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? You start putting shit together,
Right.
like,
Right.
you
That's
know,
true.
and it's just so much. I'm like, she's just not normal, and she's still not normal.
And is she in denial? Because that's what I see. That's a trait that I see.
Yes,
My mother's always in denial.
she's
And
gonna
then
be the rest of her life.
Mm-hmm. And when they're in denial, they try to make you feel guilty.
Well, because for them to admit or take accountability, they have to admit that they were that demon or
That's
that
true.
mean. But to a kid, it feels like a demon you're dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
You see other kids, mothers picking them up, swinging arms, holding hands, and hugging them, and they run into their moms, and it's just like you walk to your mom. You regret even seeing your mom. Like I remember telling my teacher in first grade at Mother's Day, she was like, she came to my desk and she still was like, why haven't you started making your Mother's Day card? And I was like, because I don't like my mom and I don't want to. Like, and I remember her like, yes. And I remember her kneeling down like at eye level to my desk. And she was like, her name was Miss Koo. I will never forget her because I had her for 2 years. And she was like, sweetie, your mom loves you. She's got to discipline you sometime. And I told her, no, she disciplines me because she doesn't love me. And I remember that Asian lady face just shaking. When I was a kid, I didn't know what that meant because I'd never seen an adult cry. You know, black people, we don't see that shit.
Right. Oh.
So her face was just shaking. And now as an adult, I remember she was holding back tears. You know what I mean? Like
that was deep to her. That was deep to her.
And her being Asian, you know, they're definitely not like that. So she's probably like, oh fucking way, you know. And she's working in the like ghetto too. So she's just like probably in tears every day about something else. She's like, this is, you know, a little girl saying this in the first grade. Like,
but that was deep because you said, you know, no, she disciplines me because she doesn't love me. I felt that.
Yes. And I just knew it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember my first day of kindergarten. I will never forget it because she ruined it. I had fell on the playground. Mind you, you know, she shopped at Kmart. It wasn't like I had Levi's or Guess.
Right.
So I fall and I get a hole in my pants. And it burns through my hole. You know, I get it burnt. It gives me a scab as well. So I fell hard, clearly. And it don't take no genius to figure like she had to fall. You know, she accredits it to me crawling around on my knees on the concrete, and I burned a hole into my pants, and I guess crawled until I got a scab too, girl. And she made me, now mind you, my cousin lived with us, my auntie lived with us, my grandma lived with us. We had a house full of people, my sister, my brother. She made me crawl around that whole fucking house on my knees while she whooped me. And I'm looking around at people like ain't nobody gonna say nothing. Nobody stopped her. Said everybody's scared of the beast. She's a fucking monster.
My goodness. That's when you have to, that's what made me cut everyone off. No one was hold her accountable, like you said, intimidation or something. Like, what is it? What is it?
Girl, you know, I just remember looking back at her, like, are you really doing this to me? And that's when I really lost the connection with her. Like, I hate this lady. Like, this.
And you were how old?
I was like 5. It was kindergarten.
That's super young.
Yeah. And you know, stuff you just never forget. I wouldn't, you know, it's like, and I bring that up to you're lying. Okay, so I'm just making all this up.
Right. I hate that. I hated that.
Did your mom, so do you know if your mom had an addiction? I know my mom, I feel like she did.
No.
I feel like my mom did, but she hid it. I feel like, it's like, I know she drank a lot. And I think she did. I think she did dip a little bit in them. But
not that I never saw her, you know, touch a drink or any illegal substances. Or
I know my mom smoked weed.
I never saw it.
I know she drank a lot, but I never seen her do like coke or nothing. But I'm just like, I just feel like she did because like stuff that I can remember and then like stories I hear, I'm like, you know how you can put stuff together. And it's just like you won't date somebody that does drugs if you don't.
If you're not doing it, yeah.
For long.
I know. Yeah. I never saw her dipping in no drugs or drinking or anything like that. That's one thing I can say. So I don't know.
I smoked weed with my mom at like 12, 13. So
whoa. You said you smoked weed with your mom?
At like 13, yeah. Girl, yes. Yeah. So that's why I'm like, it was just.
And that says a lot too. That says a lot.
It was a lot. It was a lot. It was like, okay. Wow. You know, now how do you respect you now? You know, but yeah. And she was never diagnosed with a mental illness, but I really think, like you said, you know, I think she had some. And now that I'm older, I think she had PMDD for sure.
P who?
PMDD. It's like it comes with your period in menopause.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And I think she had that. And she had a hysterectomy at 39. So
wow.
Yeah.
So she just may have, you know.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it was just a lot.
So
yeah.
She was 39. How old were you?
I was 9 years old because she had me at 30. So I was about 9 years old.
Okay.
Yeah. And that was awkward because I had to help take care of her. She's never been nurturing to me. You know what I'm saying? Right. So it was like, I got to touch you and bring you water and feed you by the, with, you know, because and it was just like, I don't want to do this. I don't like her.
And then your other siblings, they're older than you, so they got like a better version of her.
Yes. But they know she's crazy too.
They do.
Like my brother, he kind of swept it under the rug. You know, he was a dope boy, so he was selling drugs by 15 and in and out the house and making so much money he can he paid his way out.
Right.
You understand? And my sister, she was just a kiss ass. No, she could do no wrong.
And that's what I don't do. That's a no-no.
My sister was a kid. She used to make herself look like a good mom.
Okay.
You know, sent her to college. And, you know, paid more attention to her, treated her like she was, you know, she was a cheerleader. She got to do everything. Yeah. I wanted to do that. It was too expensive. No, it's too expensive.
So would you say, well, they got the healthier version of your mother?
Yeah, and my sister still does. She still does. Like, because she has lupus. So my mom is like, she treats her like, you know, oh, we got to go. Like, before I stop talking to them, you know, it would be like, oh, we got to go check on your sister. Or and it's just like, oh, you know, and it's crazy because this old lady, she's dead now. She told me one day, she said, you know, my sister died and my parents, they favored her. And I think God took her so that my parents could realize you got other kids. And I was like, oh, that's deep. Like, that's, you know, but it was coming from her and she just lost her sister and she still said that. And then she mentioned, like, you know, maybe God is taking your sister so that she can realize you got other kids. Like, you know, and I was like, well, I hope he don't do that to her because she don't have other kids. I'm not coming around. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not coming back. So.
And oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
She's like, your shit's toxic as fuck. But yeah, it's
very, very, very interesting. Like, whoa.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a lot. So you did try addressing it and she just brushed it off?
When I did try to address it a bunch of times. I always remember being silenced, like, oh, you just a kid, you talking back, you know, you acting too grown, or you don't know what you're talking about. Shut up, I'm not doing this and that. You know, you're crazy and all this other weird stuff that she tried to, you know, project on me and had me to believe, you know, or try to make me believe.
Yeah.
And it worked for a while. I'm like, you know what? At the end of the day, hold on, man, you're the one. You're the one. You need to go seek some help, okay?
You know, you get your validation through stuff as well that they go through. You start getting your validation through a lot of things if you pay attention. And then sometimes you get them calls, you hear about things, you're like, okay, you know. So I've gotten my validation like through a lot of things, through sometimes through her exes, you know.
Yeah. And I've had a few people, you know, say some things who are, you know, close to her, you know. Oh, well, if she's saying this, then the apple ain't too far from the tree. You know, try to throw some shots back at her. Right. I'm like, wow, you know.
Yeah. Does she try to talk to your kids and stuff?
She does have a relationship with the oldest one. And the other ones, no, she won't try.
And that's so awkward for me. Like I have this, I'm like, it's like, I don't want you to not like her, but it's just like, I don't want my kids around nobody that don't like me. So it's like so hard. It's like,
and the oldest one is talking to her right now. You know, basically because her and I, my oldest child, had a disagreement.
That's so, girl, we got so much.
Yeah, I could talk to you off camera about, you know, that. I don't mind talking to you about that part. I'll share that another time with you. But we, you know, just haven't been seen eye to eye. You know, sometimes when mothers and daughters do clash, you know, when mothers actually really want the best for their daughters, one of those type of situations. So she knows she can just run to my mother because my mother, you know, going to have an open door because she's going to, you know, support you, I guess, financially and, you know, gifts and things like that. What else, you know, what else are you getting out of it?
Right.
You know, you're going to her, you know, because she's going to give you money. She's going to give you gifts or, you know, other things. Just, I feel like, you know, bribing her with gifts and everything like that. And then I honestly, I do kind of feel like she's keeping us, my daughter and I, you know, distant from each other. She's in her ear. I feel like she's in my daughter's ear.
They like to have people to be against you with them. Because it
makes a whole clique.
Yeah, it validates, oh, it's not me, it's them, because I got all these people that don't like me with you, and so yeah, no, I'm going through that with my oldest too, like, over some stuff too. We could talk off camera, and it's like, but all of a sudden, her and my mom are just,
yep,
and it's like,
I was like, wow, but my other kids are very aware. They when they want to talk about things, they want to express their concerns and all that other stuff, they will try to pick up the phone and talk and everything like that. They know what's right. They know what's wrong. They know what's right. They know who's in a healthy relationship, who has their best interest, who actually cares,
Yes, good, because that means you've been teaching them about boundaries and
yeah, for sure.
Because it's necessary. Like, I even tell my second oldest, I'm like, and that's like, I tell her, like, even if I start acting like a bitch, you're not obligated to deal with me, because I'm your mom. Like, I don't care who it is. I didn't teach you to let anyone treat you bad.
Right. That's true.
You know what I mean? And so it's just so hard to let anybody treat me bad, no matter who it is, So yeah, I have a relationship with my brother. Me and my brother are close because he's so much older. He treated me like these little baby,
Yeah.
And but me and my sister, we don't talk at all, because it's just like,
right.
She wants to pretend everything was okay, and I'm just like, okay, you could pretend. Maybe that's why you're sick, because you're a disease. You know what I mean? You holding in all that shit, and it does make you sick. Your body is at dis-ease for too long, it causes disease. So you gotta, you're still holding it in, and I'm just like, maybe that I can't pretend for my whole life. You've been pretending, and maybe that's accumulated too much stress for your body to handle.
Yeah, I don't do that pretending stuff, and I'm very, very different. Yeah, and they're okay with going like that. And I'm like, all right, well, y'all go ahead and be this big old happy dandy family if y'all want, and act like everything is normal when it's not. Y'all don't want to correct the issues and do the work and do the homework and be consistent and bring the things, get to the root of the issue and hold the root of the issue accountable. If you don't want to do that, just stay where you are.
It's what you call it.
It's peaceful without all that drama and all that other mess. It's so peaceful.
It's what you called it. It's the black lie. Like, you got to do a whole show, girl, on your thing about that, because it's like that. I'm
gonna talk to you about that off camera. Yeah, I'm gonna talk to you about something else I want to touch on. Either I'll save it for another podcast, or we can talk about it, or we'll touch on that.
Yeah, because
I want to get deeper more about the black lie.
Yes, because it's an issue. It needs to stop. It does need to stop. Like, why can't we talk? What the fuck? We're not. We don't have those things that they had muzzles, like the slave muzzles anymore. We can talk, but they're not gonna get one of those if you say something. It's crazy. I mean, my mom is older, so I'm like, they do have that energy still, like, and she's from Prentice, Mississippi, so
deep in the South.
Yeah, Did you ever find like another female older person to like that you can confide in, like a mom?
Yes.
That's good. That's good.
She actually prefers me to call her auntie.
Okay.
We actually got deep into that. I said, well, you feel so much like a mother. She said, yeah, I don't want to take that title. She was like, no matter, it got really, really deep. She said, call me auntie. And I'll be, I'm gonna always be there for you. And she kept her word. Still here to this day. That's me and the kids, and she's showing up. She's showing up like a mama and showing up like a grandmother to the kiddies,
Oh, that's lovely.
Still here. And I felt like it was really something I've always needed.
That's good. That's a blessing, that's a really big, because the days like Mother's Days and like, just talk about it, just it's like, who do you call? And
because I know you had wanted to ask me about that. How do I feel, when Mother's Day and holidays like that come around? And I'm not gonna say I don't think about, her, or, just Mother's Day in general and stuff. I do, I'll shoot a little text and everything, but I still have my boundaries set. to be Happy Mother's Day, and we'll just move on from there. Happy Mother's Day. It's like, I told you, it's like a disconnect, but I'll still, extend my, Happy Mother's Day to her, message her, and then, we go on from there. It's nothing else after that. It's dry.
Yeah.
From both, both sides. It's very, very, very dry. Like I said, the disconnect.
You're still trying, you know what I mean? Like, you're still like trying to be the good person, because that's what you are. And then, you're thinking maybe I'll get a different response. It's like you said, but they're the same people, So
I try.
Yeah. I don't think we're supposed to try that hard though.
And that's where I was getting at is, I tried, but it's like, how your body tells you when you're tired. Your body will tell you. And that's what I feel like that's what I've been experiencing. I'm just, I'm tired. You want to reach out. And like I said, you come to me healed. Come to me healed. I'll know when you're healed. I really will. I've done my work. I shouldn't have to do all this work as a daughter. Trying to, correct a lot of wounds and everything like that. Like, it's just not, I don't feel like a child should have to correct a whole bunch of mistakes that they didn't create. I'm not the root of the issues. The root of the issues is, started way before I was here. You clearly maybe had some issues before, I was born.
Clearly.
Relationships, I don't know what type of relationships. I don't know if it's with your parents, with your lovers. I don't know. But clearly there was some issues before you brought me into this world.
Yes. And it's just, it like I said to you before, though, it's like, it's funny how they pick who they want to use as their punching bag, and it's your kid, and so, now, like you said, now we had stuff that we had, and it took all my 20s, almost all my 30s to heal from this shit, and you realize you had good men in your life sometimes, but you were not healed, and you were doing, you realize all the stuff you're going through as you're healing, like, oh my God, I went through this because I wasn't healed, and that's why I stay away, because I don't want to go back to that dark place.
Yep.
Because it's a very dark place.
And do you feel like more at peace? Like, I really feel like a peaceful sensation. And at one point you probably will experience being lonely and stuff when you separate yourself from people and family and dysfunction. But I just feel like I feel more at peace. I done moved, y'all. I'm out of state. I'm everything. And it's like, I just got away from a lot of it. I just couldn't do it anymore. It was really taking a toll, like mentally and stuff. I said, you know what? I'm going to be the change. I'm going to raise my children different. They're not going to be around it. How can I have them set their boundaries and, bring them up, in a household full of love and how you're supposed to be loved and treated and talked to. And, just, I don't want to I wouldn't ever want to offer them any type of childhood trauma, because that's what I endured. It just wasn't a fun experience. And it's like, when you go through all that, you really missing out on your childhood, because there's a lot of things that I couldn't do because we're stuck in a household full of abuse. It wasn't many parties we were able to attend because it was always some type of dysfunction going on. It was always fights, arguments, or we're in a shelter here or there, or staying at grandmom's house. And it was just, I don't know, it just wasn't a fun childhood. So here I go at my big old age trying to be a big old kid.
And me too, girl. Every chance I get, I was just on the downtown acting like a kid yesterday. Okay, like, I don't even care, and you have to. It's like you are doing everything that they did not do for that kid right now, like, and it's okay. Somebody has to do it, but it, like with me, I'm engaged now, so I have awkward moments like, okay, it's now 2 years now, but I'm like, okay, if we're gonna get married or not, we got to do this. I don't know but if we are, it's like I'm having all these awkward moments, like, okay, no dad to walk me down, no mom there, like, that's when it starts feeling awkward again. I'm like, I'm healed, but it's just like it's coming back up again, like, because stuff like that, and it's a lot. Like you're healed, but it'll always come back up. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's good to talk to someone else.
Mm-hmm. So if you guys, when you guys do have your little ceremony, do you have any mother-like figures, or would you be able to have his mother walk you down the aisle, or?
See, I have women in my life that I call mom because I've been friends with their kids since like 5th grade and stuff. I'd rather them be a part of it. And like his mom is not that great. She got some of those underlying issues too. And she thinks that, she ran across the wrong motherfucker because I'm not the one that's gonna be like, oh, it's your mom, that's okay. I'm not giving her that either. So she thought she was gonna be rude and be back, oh, this is my son and I'm first, like show me that energy. And I'm like, girl, bye. You could It's crazy though, because God don't play when you right. Let me tell you how she got slapped. Like she tried to break us up so bad. And I think he don't see that still. Like sometimes he does, sometimes he don't. And it's just like I'm the type, like I'm not zip mouth. I'm telling them, I'm pointing out everything. Like you don't see this, don't see that, because they'll try to make you look crazy. So like we got habit of keeping receipt now because of what we've been through. You know what I mean? And I've kept all these receipts on, and I'm like, look. And then it's like now he started to see it. And it was just like, it's crazy because he asked me to marry him on her birthday.
Ooh.
And I don't even think he realized that he did that. You know what I'm saying? Like it just happened to happen that way.
Right.
And so when he had to call her on her birthday, he was like, oh yeah, guess what? By the way, And it's just like, so lady, all that acting out you did, and look at you, you needed to come, you tried real hard to get rid of it, like, so you ain't even, sometimes you ain't even, karma will fight them battles for you sometimes, Yeah. So I don't want her either. No, thank you. I don't even really want her to hear. No bad energy. I don't want to have to monitor spirits at my wedding. You know what I'm saying?
I'm big on that. I'm big on that. Who I, bring into my household. Oh, in my space, my children's space. Oh, I'm so big on that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We got a lot in common because I moved away from my family. I'm in Detroit. All my family's in California now.
Okay.
And people ask me all the time, you don't miss your family? You're not, how do you live? I don't know nobody here.
Excuse me.
But, but it feels so good. It's like so peaceful.
Right.
It's never felt better actually. So yeah, it's crazy how we got a lot in common.
We do. And I said that's why we connect. I said that. I'm like, this is something that really draws me to like your energy, your vibe. And what is it? And then hearing your story more and more, I'm like, what? No wonder why. Okay, that's exactly why.
Yeah.
It's like everything we went through as a kid, and it was very relatable.
Yeah, very much so. And it feels good to be able to talk to some other kids, like you said, someone that's not going to say, well, that's your mom, or someone to say, maybe you should talk to her. It's like, no thank you.
Rekindle and damage yourself all over again.
Yeah. It's good to know someone, and like you were saying, like you experienced being alone at first. I felt alone, but I realized we're not alone, or we're not lonely. We're alone. And so there's a difference. And so now I'm not lonely. I'm alone, just me and my kids. And I'm good with that though.
Yep. And it was different for my children to adapt to that, but they knew how it was like, it was the better for them. They're starting to get older and mature, and they have a very, good understanding of, what's going on, who's healthy, who's healthy to be around, who's not healthy to be around. And, they're very smart children. So
that's good.
Like I said, when they're younger, they don't understand. Oh, well, where is such and such, or where's such a such? How come such and such doesn't come past no more? Or, what I mean? When you have that little trauma bond going on, and you don't disconnect from them, and you're stuck in the same city and town as them, and they pop up when they want to pop up to your house. No invitation. It was easy to do that, but you can't do it now because I'm what? I'm like, I don't know how many states away. And it's just okay. It's just okay. It's just better like that.
It's crazy because when my fiance watched the show and he hear you saying this shit, he gonna be like, damn. Because he be hearing me say the same thing. Like, it's just, I'm so happy can't nobody pop up at my house. I swear, I be seeing all this stuff. So it's so relatable and it feels so good to know because he be thinking I'm tripping.
It's not the only one. You're not the only one.
You know, and because their family's not that great, but they sticking together regardless. And it's just like I can't. Y'all do that. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not for that. And I think a lot of people admire that about me. Like I'm just not. You know, and it's funny because I see a lot of people. I wouldn't use the word funny. Let me clear that up. But I just see it. You know, it's more and more common now where a lot of family members are disconnected from the toxic family members, or I see, you know. You see more and more black sheeps and everybody's venting on Facebook, social media, telling me how this parent did this or this sibling did that. And then now nobody's, you know, talking to them. It's just common and it's real common. In
Uh-oh. I think we lost connection. So today's episode about toxic mothers, it got deep for us today. I got really transparent with you all. I've been wanting to do a show about this because I don't always want to sound like I'm venting or like talking bad about my mother. And there's like a lot of people that want to ask me these questions or, you know, where does this stir from? Why? What is it? Like, why are you, you know, especially when they see the relationship with my siblings. So they tend to question me a lot. And it's good to see and or hear someone that can relate to it in the real sense as me. And like I can like almost hear her saying and feeling some of the same experiences that I've had. Let's see. So it's a hello. Did we get you there? Can you hear me?
Hold on.
Let's see here.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
All right.
Okay. So they'll edit that out.
I can hear you. So you know, I disconnected. I hit the wrong button. Disconnected.
Don't worry. They'll edit that out.
Okay.
Don't worry. Okay. So we'll just start from here. And then so yeah, so I am
okay.
Glad that I have talked to you because it feels good to talk to people about it. It's like therapy, kind of, you know, to talk to someone that can relate and that has been through it, and that's not going to say, you know, think you're lying for attention or whatever people be thinking that we're on. You know what I'm saying? Like you feel all type of energies when you're telling your story to people. You know, it's like sometimes you feel, you know, that they don't even believe you. So it just feels good to talk to someone else. And we're born around the same time. Maybe it's an era thing. I don't know.
It could be. I think it's common in that generation. But let me see. So the 80s, yeah.
And so
a lot of this was like common because I know my house, you like you said, it's not just our two households, you know, it wasn't just our households that was like this. How many other families, you know, experience the same thing, or women or sons experience this, you know, type of trauma from their, you know, mothers or
yeah. And I think this show is going to be good for others because there's so many people that want to talk about this, but they're just afraid to be black sheep or ostracized or, you know, called by everybody. Why are you on there talking about your mama? Or, you know, so they just hold it in. And so I think this is good that you know, I think this is good because there's a lot of people that want to do this. And it's just like they're scared to lose other people in their life, you know, their aunties, their whoever's on their mom's team, you know. So maybe this will help hearing
And guess
us.
what? Courage. Mm-hmm. Because
When
we
you
were
start
once in
loving
that,
yourself
their
that much,
position. You know.
yeah. I mean, when you start loving
Mm-hmm.
you, you don't need all them no more anyway. Like,
Nope. Nope. Mm-mm. And that's what
no.
we're doing. We're loving ourselves. We're loving ourselves. So yeah. Yeah.
And that's hard to
Like you said,
explain.
we'll probably help a whole bunch of other women and men.
I hope so. I hope so. And I know, like, people, I told people I was gonna send this to my mom because I'm not in the mean way. I'm not trying to hurt her, but I need her to
Yeah.
feel my pain. Like, you need to understand
Yeah.
it. Like, maybe this maybe you'll make you feel something this time. Like, because
Yep.
you don't get to talk back to me. You don't get to be like, I didn't, no. You just have to sit there and listen.
Yep. And
And
listen.
so
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna send
And
this to her.
that may help her. That may help your mother.
Yeah, I
Like,
hope so.
do you think she'll see your, like, sometimes you have to see someone else's perspective, of things.
Exactly.
It just may. It just may.
Exactly.
Now, as far as my mother, I'm not too sure. This is not the first time I've ever went live about this situation. This topic has been brought up, a few times. I've done other interviews, about this topic. And, I told you about an upcoming project. I don't know if I'll tell you about that project that I'm working on off camera. I'm not sure if I, told you before, but we'll talk about that.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if this would, change her, mindset or mentality on the whole situation, or if this would correct her behavior. I'm not too sure.
Yeah.
I'm not too
I
sure.
think for me, it's closure because I sat down with her and talked about some of the stuff, but never like actually told her, like, as in this old, like, I just want you to recall this shit one more time. Like, I don't know what's wrong with me. I just do. Like, okay, before you go out, you really want to go out like this, or do you want to, and I think she probably would. I think she'll go out like that. But it's just like, I guess this is my Brian McKnight, my one last cry.
Mm-hmm. Now, were you ever able to go to her verbally?
I did a couple times, like you did. It always ends up in argument.
Okay. So it's like no resolution or anything like that.
Yeah. I haven't done it since I was like, after 31, 32, I haven't talked to her in almost 10 years. So.
Yeah. And I feel like after this last situation, I really feel like I'm done trying. Like I told you before, I feel like your body will tell you when you're tired, when enough is enough. And like you said, you got them babies. That don't mean you got to have the babies around that.
Exactly.
You went through it and the issue still wasn't corrected. And you're going into adulthood with the same, effects from childhood, possibly.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I know it's a lot of things I had to correct that I brought to my adulthood that wasn't corrected during childhood. And I wasn't aware of this until, I'm a grown woman. I had to have another grown woman tell me this. Well, Zawana, that's not normal. No, you don't do that, or it's not supposed to be like that. Those are things that the things that she would bring up, one of my close mentors, she really had to correct me on a lot of things. You'd be surprised as a grown woman at my big old age that, there's a lot of things that I didn't think or know that was actually normal, not normal, excuse me, that, was dysfunctional.
Yeah.
Just growing up for so many years and no one else ever correcting, the issue and, getting to the root of the issue. It wasn't until adulthood. I'm a whole grown woman and just sometimes I'm embarrassed. And I'm like, you know what? Why should I have to be embarrassed? It's not my fault. It wasn't my problem, but I can correct it.
The people that are correcting you, they know that. They know that.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to be embarrassed. You know what I mean? But I understand that emotion because it's like, to be corrected at this age is like, sorry, but it's like, thank God we have somebody to correct us because, and that is bold enough to do it because that's what our parents needed, and nobody did it to them.
She was
So
like, stop being hard on yourself. You didn't know that this wasn't, normal. And I'm like, woo. So I had to go back and, teach my kids, different ways. I was brought up doing this. I was brought up, I was taught this, taught that. One thing I won't ever teach them to is bringing them up on lies and everything. That's one thing I will not do. Lies. A lot of love. They know I love them. I tell them daily. I show them daily. Anyway, and it's not through gifts. It's actual love, like love and affection, tough love. I put my foot down. I'm your mother first. I'm not your little friend. I'm your mother first.
Period.
And
Yes.
it's a lot of that. And another thing I do allow them to do that my mother didn't allow me to do, or my father didn't allow me to do, was use my voice. When I feel like, for example, if the kids feel like, I was too hard on them, or I wasn't listening to them, or, they want to spend a little bit more time, hey, mom, can I come talk to you? Sure. I ain't shutting you out. Get out the room. I don't want to hear it. No. Yeah. What do you want? I'm very, attentive when it comes to them. And I didn't have that growing up. So I'm totally different when it, in a lot of areas.
Yep. And we're breaking the cycle. I'm very hands-on with my kids. I play with them. I'm always doing stuff with them and making activities, stuff.
I see that. Mm-hmm.
I didn't, I'm still like, I guess I'm still being a kid with them,
Yep.
And so, yeah, I don't know how they did that. It's like, at being a mom now, that also validates, like, how could you do that? I'm a mom now, and it's like, that validates that shit was wrong even more. Because I love my kids so much. I'm just like, I can never not like them the way you didn't like me.
Yeah. And that's sad to feel that, emotion at such a young age. Like, the disconnect at such a young age, no emotional connection.
Yeah. It's been a very awkward childhood because, like, I've watched, like, all my friends have great relationship with their mothers, or just their households be, even if the dad wasn't there, it was just like they had great family orientation. And just like, why is their mom so happy without a dad?
Right.
Yep. Like, it could be done.
It can. Because they make you, that back, that slave mentality. They make you think that, you can't do it. All Black women are, miserable, or, mad Black women. And, because they're single mothers and this and the third. No. Change that narrative. That's not the case. You can still be a happy woman and a single mother. It's up to you. It's really up to you. You can be
every day trying to show my kids that, and other women, like, there's so many women like, oh, I can't do this. I'm a single mom. It's like, tap into your natural talent. You start, you got to love the journey though, that you dread in being the mom.
Yep.
That's true. Another thing, so it's like, it's a lot of that. We gonna have to do like 2-3 episodes on this, because it's like, it's the one you said, the Black Lie, like, when you do that show, definitely have me on. I definitely, and then, and then there's just so much more that I think is in our culture more than any culture, and it needs to stop, So,
but you gotta really want change. It's like people say they want to stop, but they're not, doing the work. Doing the work is, setting boundaries. You really have to be strict on, setting boundaries. You have to be really consistent, knowing what you're going to allow, knowing what you're not going to allow. Like, really. And all
so when you say that, I walk around looking like the person that say, "Don't be their friend no more. You can't be their." That's how that sounds to people, right? And it's like, oh God, first they gotta hear it in a different way. They're hearing it from a toxic place.
Right.
So that's the problem, first and foremost. So it's like, I sound crazy because I'm like, don't talk. What do you mean don't talk to my mom? You know what I mean? Like,
it's not like that. Like, it's deeper. Like, you really have to just pull them to the side. Like, it's not like I don't want you to talk to such and such. But here are some things that I want to bring to your attention. There's some things that I endured growing up, and some things that I still see, in her.
Things that you're allowing in your cycle of your generations that you're creating now, it's like, I just, like you said, I refuse to do it. So yeah. So when you are ready to talk about, I'm having a show I'm going to have entrepreneurs on. So when you're ready to get your project marketed and you want people to know about it, you're definitely welcome to come back and talk about it. When you're ready, if you want to, because I'm showcasing women like us. We're going to have a whole show about women like us that are doing projects probably based on our pain.
Okay.
We're doing you do. I think a lot of the stuff we do is survivor's remorse. So we start, and people always wonder why we want to help so bad and love so bad and give so much, and so yeah, I'm sure your project is probably based around a lot of that, loving and giving and caring.
Oh, for sure.
Because that's all you want to do, because you have this energy like, I don't want nobody to feel like me, so you just want to love and uplift.
I don't want anyone to feel. That's why I'm trying to connect with the youth. You know what I mean? Because it started very young for me. For the both of us, it started very young. So if I can connect with the youth, like I'm doing right now, then I think things will be better. Just putting a positive message in their ears. Young ladies and everything, and like I said, we aren't the only women who probably experience this. Just a lot of people just won't come out, and say anything because they're scared of what everyone else may think, or breaking up the families and all the other stuff.
So I thank you for your time and being transparent. I know this show was like, I didn't know how it was gonna go. I had some paper towel over here just in case I started crying. I didn't know how it was gonna go. But I did good. Like, I know
I'm a cry.
I tell little stories about my little, like, those whoopings and stuff. It's not even that I'm crying because I'm still hurt. It's like it will be like it's like third person. Seeing someone else tell that story would make me cry too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, or hearing a 40-year-old tell that story now, I would break all the way down. So it's like kind of like in that sense. So it's like but I love to talk to you tonight, and I thank you for your time. And I know it's time to get logged in.
Likewise, I know. I apologize for that. But
thank you for keep trying. I'm glad that you didn't give up. So that's what I'm saying.
I wouldn't do that. I said this. I feel like this would be important. For the both of us to talk about, or I got my butt on here and I got on.
We're not done. We're going to be talking on platforms soon because it goes further than this.
It does. The black line. The black line.
Yeah. I see, like, in the future, I see, like, with my club going around nationwide helping people, and, so I'm trying to build a team of people that are like us. So it doesn't stop here. We got to So whenever you want to talk to me or have me on your show or anything, like I told you in the inbox that you need me to do for you, for your websites or anything you're doing, you're more than welcome to ask me.
Woman empowerment. I'm all for it.
I'm
all for it. So you know that.
Yes. So anytime you need.
Right.
And so it's